reality is literally just a collection of the emotions and thoughts and experiences you're having right now, like right now. If you want more synchronicity and magic and awe and creativity, that all comes back to how am I living my life and what are the choices and thoughts and experiences I'm setting up for myself right now today. It's not if I do all these things, then I'll feel that. You're going to be waiting your whole life. The frequency that you feel in your life is what you are doing today and how you're moving through your life today. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the podcast. We're starting 2026 off strong with some of the hot topics I feel like we really want to be grounded into moving into this year. And I feel a really strong urgency and dedication to unpacking as much as I can energetically for you as possible, because this year, more than ever before, more and more people are going to be waking up to glitches in the matrix, to soul connections, to soul mission. There is going to be a really strong spiritual awareness for people who are having their spiritual awakening for their first time, and for people who are already here. If you're here, you probably already have a strong interest, obviously, in things like manifestation and energetics, but there is so much that is a bit more advanced, but also simple. And I really want to make sure that I'm breaking down as much as possible what I can for you guys so that you can understand what's happening in the non-physical, because this is really how we are going to fortify ourselves amidst all of the clutter and actually come into a space of ease and alignment and excitement, because it doesn't matter how much noise is happening outside of you. If you have energetic tools, you get to create a life for yourself that feels really beautiful and divinely perfect for you. So as we navigate a lot of new energies and new feelings and new journeys, since this is a 1 year, we are opening up a lot of new energies and it's really exciting, honestly. I want to start with a really important concept that my guides call the internal resonant system. And I don't know if other people say this too, I'm sure they do. This is like the good IRS, right? The good IRS. So the internal resonant system comes back to the idea that your body is uniquely coded to determine which frequencies are resonant for it and which aren't. So I want to take a couple of steps back and let's go back to basics, right? People are personifications of a frequency. I want you to really think about that. This is something that the Ascended Masters say to me all the time. They say, we're just a personification of a frequency. Everything is really just personification of a frequency, of a vibration. Everything is frequency. So you as a soul, that is actually a frequency, a unique energetic blueprint. And that soul frequency comes to Earth, and we use the language choosing, which from some dimensional perspectives, that's accurate. From others, it's not. But let's just say, we choose, we incarnate for specific reasons. And as we incarnate, we get to play this game of how clearly can I express my soul frequency. When we come here, it's dense. When we come here, when we experience this earth plane, this time-space reality, there's a lot of conditioning. There is a lot of dense emotions that we experience, and we start to learn things that might not necessarily be divine truth that we take on as truth. When we enter these physical bodies, we pick up on things like ancestral programming, religious programming, thoughts and beliefs from our family lines, thoughts and beliefs from society around us, from the unique community that we live in, for example. And we go on this journey that most of you are on, where you're starting to untangle what's true for you and what's not, what's a limiting belief and what's helpful, trying to come back into alignment and resonance. So the importance of the internal resonance system is for you to always remember that your soul that is working with this physical vessel, your soul frequency has an internal resonance system that is always reacting to things in your environment, telling you whether or not it's resonant. So part of the work is to peel apart what is vibrationally resonant and what we are attracted to based on wounds or conditioning, familiarity. So the more we start to unpack that work, we start to come back in alignment with ourselves, and we start to see just how powerful our bodies really are. This connects back in with the idea of the wisdom of the body. Our bodies are so intelligent and so wise. And something that the guides have been talking about pretty much nonstop to me for the last month has been the importance of the IRS, the internal resonant system, to help people come back to remembering that they can trust their bodies. So let's just remove the conditioning aspect for a moment. Your soul frequency is going into environments. So that could be an actual city, that could be a specific location, a home, a store, and giving you feedback about if it's resonant or not on a soul frequency level. Your internal resonant system is guiding you towards specific people and places and opportunities. Your internal resonant system is picking up on stimuli from people around you, conversations, actual people, music, television, social media, all of these different stimuli in our environments. Your internal resonant system is having a reaction to. What we need to get curious about is how often we tell our bodies they're wrong or our emotions they're wrong, how often we try to override our body's signals, how often we try to override our intuitive knowing, which can come through things like emotions or a physical body's reactions, because we have conditioning telling us, well, I should like this, or I should be comfortable here, or this is good for me. So this is a really nuanced conversation because there is a lot that can actually be really resonant for us that might not always feel comfortable. But this is where we have to get curious about what is my internal resonance system and how is this different from my inner child, my mind, my fear, my ego, however you want to see it, 16-year-old me, 20-year-old me, the feelings of somebody else in the room that I'm trying to make sure I protect, all those different voices, because we're aware of all those different frequencies. But a really important intention that I would invite you to set in your life is I want to really get to know my own internal resonance system. The point of this is that your body is coded with the wisdom of how to move through this density in this video game in a way that will align you with your highest path. So when you think about your desires, when you think about the feelings you want to have, the types of relationships you want to have, the abundance you want to experience in your life, the creativity, anything that you really want to experience and how that's uniquely for you, you don't have to know the how. But your body comes in already set up with information. You choose your vessel really intentionally. Everything is chosen, quote unquote. I'll just use that language because it's easier to understand, really intentionally. And what they want to remind you with this internal resonance system is that you don't have to know the how. You don't even have to know the what. But if you can get clear on, hey, I want to feel love, I want to feel expansion, I want to feel joy, I want to feel creativity. If you can be that specific and you can align with that, your internal resonance system is going to guide you through life and show you what aligns with that and what doesn't. So the idea with this is, as we're navigating this new cycle that we're entering into this year, for example, can I remember that I have a deep wisdom, a deep intelligence in my body that's working through my body, through my emotions, through my physicality. My soul is communicating to me, telling me what's resonant for this path I want to walk and telling me what's not. We feel like we're going in blind, and we are going in blind in terms of our brains don't know the full path ahead, but there is that internal GPS that is moving you through your life. And a really strong energy that's coming up right now, which is why this is part of the conversation and is so important, is that a lot of people are spending a lot of time trying to figure things out or overthinking, and it's creating a lot of resistance in the system. And that is the complete opposite of what most of you are trying to create, which is ease and alignment. But the thing that we really need to unlock here, and this is going to be a portal to more money, to better relationships, to however your highest timeline looks for you for you to feel that, it has to be rooted in self-trust. And we have to start looking at this relationship we have with our bodies and start to honor the wisdom that is inherently within it. So I'm going to give you an example, right? I could go into a situation and feel like I have to figure this out. I need to know what I'm doing next. I've got to make all these decisions. I can also go into the situation and trust that my internal resonant system is going to give me the information I need. When I walk into a room, my internal resonant system is going to guide me physically, emotionally, intuitively through, that's resonant over there, so let me go to that person. Let me talk to that person. It's going to guide me in terms of, I'm just not feeling resonant. I'm feeling an energetic block, or I'm feeling an energetic pushback to that corner of the room, right? And so this can apply to actual opportunities. This can apply to people, to places. We have to start tapping into that specifically. And I would set that intention. Like, I want to work with my internal resonance system, because what that phrase activates, it's tapping into the part of you that is the energetic template of how to move forward. Versus if we just listen to our body's wisdom, even though the internal resonance system is connected to the body's wisdom, there is information in the body that's also informed by conditioning and trauma, for example, right? It's a normal physiological response if we have had a scary or harmful situation and our bodies feel like we might be entering into that same situation, where we will back up. And sometimes that is because it's actually not healthy or safe. And sometimes it's just because our bodies recognize something that's familiar that didn't go well. And so it's telling us to back away when actually it is safe. So there comes a moment where, yes, we want to include all of that work as well. But the same way that we want to cultivate our intuitive abilities and really tapping into the wisdom of the body, when you call upon that phrase and you really get curious around that energy, my internal resonance system, it activates this part of you that naturally knows how to work with energy and naturally knows how to work through the field. It's asking that part of you to start talking to you through your intuition and through your body, through your emotions, for example. So I've been thinking about this a lot in terms of my physical energy levels and in terms of my body. My body tells me a lot. Obviously, I'm very, clairvoyant and clairaudient, but I'm really clairsentient. I feel emotionally and I feel physically. And for a long time, I didn't realize how much my physical symptoms that I was trying to connect back to all of these physical illnesses, I didn't realize how much a lot of that was actually my intuition. And I found that I used to always blame my body or get angry at my body of, why can't you have more energy when you do this? Why do you always get bloated when you eat that? Why do you break out when this happens, right? And so I'm just going to use the body as the main example here and the main language. And then I started to get curious from the lens of, okay, well, my body is giving me information. But then it goes deeper in terms of, if my internal resonance system is already coded with my highest timeline, my body is going to have a physical reaction every time I'm going somewhere non-resonant. So it's a slightly different way of thinking about it, but it's understanding this system exists and it is your GPS through life, your internal resonance system. The problem is we will try to make sense of everything. And I think about people, for example. There have been times when my mind couldn't understand why I wasn't resonating with a certain person. And I would override the thoughts of my mind, where I would have some type of energetic block or feeling that was, don't go over there. But I would say, why? That person's really nice. This could be a great connection. Everybody I know is friendly with this person. They've tried to reach out to me and I want to be friendly. And, they seem lovely, blah, blah, blah. There's something within me that isn't feeling resonant. And then maybe simultaneously or separately, I'm feeling really resonant or interested in this thing. And my brain is like, why would you spend time doing that? That's a waste of time. That's not going to be helpful. Or that person's not even interested in talking to you, whatever it is. And the chatter of my mind will often override that internal resonance system. And then what happens? And I'm going to use human language, might miss out on the opportunity that was waiting for me in the place that was resonant. And I'm going to spend time in the area that's non-resonant. And then I'm spending time off-roading. I'm spending time taking a detour off of the GPS, so to speak. This is important because a lot of times when we feel that things are non-resonant, the human mind wants to make sense of it by making it wrong. So I notice this a lot in the spiritual space, and I think this is extremely unhealthy, where people will feel very non-resonant with certain things, and so they start to label it bad. Just because you're not resonant with something doesn't make it bad. It doesn't make it dark. It doesn't make it, whatever it is. It's just that you're non-resonant, and it's just because there's a different resonance, because you're just walking a different path, and your body, your internal resonance system, your internal wisdom is trying to just take you on the shortcut version of the road to whatever your highest timeline is. So it's not that, this over here has to be bad or dark or whatever. It's just, hey, I'm trying to make it faster for you. And if you met this person who you think is irrelevant to you, their sibling has a huge career opportunity. And if you just talk to them one time, it's going to come up, and then something's going to unfold, and you're going to think, whoa, how synchronistic. So your internal resonance system is aligning you with synchronicities. And those synchronicities are the points I think about in like Mario, like Super Mario, right? Where you're walking and then you hit a little jump point, like you and then you jump up a level. It's that kind of quantum jump point that happens when you follow your internal resonance system. And this is how you can create a lot of, what people call quantum leaps. It's not technically a quantum leap, but it is the faster version of the timeline for you to feel the way you want to feel. And it's just a different path through life. But here's the thing, your reality is literally just a collection of the emotions and thoughts and experiences you're having right now, like right now. And if you want to be happy right now, and you want more happiness and joy, or if you want more synchronicity and magic and awe and creativity, that all comes back to, how am I living my life, and what are the choices and thoughts and experiences I'm setting up for myself right now today. It's not if I do all these things, then I'll feel that. You're going to be waiting your whole life. The frequency that you feel in your life is what you are doing today and how you're moving through your life today. So if we can start to operate from our internal resonance systems and really start to cultivate this, you're going to start to see openings in the field that you weren't seeing before. I think about it like this. I was at Disneyland on Sunday, as I am, and I am a speed walker. I am so fast at walking, and some people who come to Disneyland with me vibe with it, and some don't. And I am just weaving in and out, bobbing. I mean, I'm record time, and I love it. I feel like I'm on a high. Like it's like an art to me. And when I am walking through, I think about it like, someone told me once, if you're racing cars, you're trained to never look at the crash. You don't look at anyone else. You only are looking at the opening, because the second you stop looking at the opening, you're going to miss the opening. So you just keep going in the opening, and somehow you make it. And I always think about that when I'm walking through, and I'm literally only looking for openings. I'm not paying attention to the crowds and crowds and crowds of people. I'm just looking for the sliver of the opening. And I was telling Kelly, because we were there together on Sunday, I said, as I was bobbing and weaving, I realized that part of why I love it so much is because I feel like I'm physically experiencing the artistry of energy. It's a physical manifestation of that, where I look for the opening and I just keep moving toward it, and it's all I see. And as I move toward the opening, everybody around me moves out. Like the space is created because I am moving that direction, and the energy field around that place is responding. It's feeling something going toward it, right? Other people are feeling something coming toward it the same way I might feel someone coming toward me, and I energetically respond and I move out, right? I'm carving out this path. And that's really similar to the difference between operating your life, living based on your internal resonance system versus your logical mind. So there are maps that we can see. There are roadways we can see. if you ask yourself, how do I get from point A to point B, and you're just looking at the map, you're just going to go down the streets, right? And that is how people move through life when they are not using their unique resonant system. And what happens when people do that is you are having to deal with the clutter of what's mine versus what's other people. You're constantly having to ask that question of, do I really want this? Do I not? Like, there's a lot of extra clutter because you're going down the path everybody else is going down, when actually there's a very unique shortcut or way of moving through life where every single thing along that timeline or along that pathway is resonant for you. And I want you to imagine the difference in how you feel, how you're going to feel in your life. Let's say I move through my life. So I move through time and space, and we're just going to use this example of I'm trying to get from point A to point B, and I'm using a GPS, and I'm taking the main roads that everybody takes. There's going to be a lot of things that are not resonant for me because that's not all uniquely designed for me. And so how are you going to feel emotionally? You might feel confused. You might feel the ups and downs of your life. You might feel heaviness. You're dealing with all of the energetic clutter. But then what happens if you say, I am going to drive the path that has been uniquely carved for me, that's completely resonant to every single thing in my body and every single thing in my field? Like, I want you to imagine the difference in the experience. As you're driving, everything around you is going to light you up. Everything around you is resonating with you. So the entire pathway there is super high vibe, is super synchronistic. And that is how you experience a life where your reality is really resonant, where your reality is so resonant, which allows you to feel uplifted and inspired and creative, and you're feeling the magic of the universe because it's all resonant for you. And so that's the difference. You can move a lot more quickly, and quicker isn't always better, right? And there are lots of times when we want to slow down, but we can slow down in a resonant state, or we can slow down, we can take the scenic route in an area that we don't really enjoy. The difference is if you are following your internal resonance system. If you follow your internal resonance system, everything along the journey is going to be resonant for you in some way, and is going to mirror exactly what you need to see, and is going to connect you in with the exact places and people and ideas that you need along the journey. And a lot of you might feel the difference or know the difference. If there are times in your life where you felt like, whoa, I was just in this stream of synchronicity for a period of time. I was just following my intuition. I was feeling the energy. I wasn't overthinking, and I met this person and that happened and that landed in my lap, and you can feel the flow in your life. And there might be other times where you're thinking a lot, where you're dealing with other people's stuff, where, you know, you're not feeling really inspired, where it's feeling really clunky and heavy. And you're feeling like you have to make a lot of decisions from your mind, right? That is where you are off of your internal resonance system. So this is going to be a really important thing to understand as we move into 2026 and beyond, for you to start to open up communication with that and start to pay attention to what your body is telling you, those little signals. So this could be anything from, like, what are some examples? Chills, goosebumps, giving you information. If you are feeling really hot or really cold in a certain situation, and you know it's more intuitive, it's not just because of the temperature. Things like I have a headache, things like I'm really bloated, things like my digestion is stuck, like I'm constipated, things like breakouts or hives or rashes. Like, your body is responding. It's telling you about resonance. It's telling you if this place is resonant for you, if this person is resonant for you. So we start to unpack, well, why am I feeling that way? The other aspect of the internal resonance system is going to be about thoughts and inspiration and creativity. So noticing when you feel more inspired, when you feel more creative, after you talk to people or listen to people, or you're around people or places. Is there flow moving through your system? Is it leading to another point of inspiration? Is it activating that? Or are you feeling dull? Are you feeling drained? So you're thinking about, am I feeling more lit up and inspired or excited? Do I have physical energy, or am I physically drained? Feeling physical energy is probably the strongest way the most potent way that your internal resonant system will communicate with you, because you're either energized and moving forward, or you're not. And if you're not, then that's telling you somewhere where you are not listening to that. And if you start to listen to that, it's going to get you back on the path. This is important because we are being asked to, instead of spending so much time overthinking, and look, healing is important, healing our subconscious beliefs is important, all of that. But I find that sometimes people can get caught in loops, and there is another way of looking at it that can be an and, not an or, of course. But sometimes we're just caught in a mental loop because we're on a certain frequency. And when we jump to a different frequency, we just bypass those thoughts and we can see it clearly. It's the same idea as you don't solve a problem in the same energy of the problem. You have to shift the energy of the solution to be able to see the problem clearly. And most people get stuck in their problems or their loops because they're trying to solve that loop or change that loop, see that problem differently from the energy of the problem. You have to shift into a different energy to see it differently. And so if you just ask yourself, if I tap into my internal resonant system, where is it guiding me right now? That's your soul contract. So our soul contracts are a giant map of all of the places that we get to go and the people that we get to meet and the conversations we get to have, specific contracts that are here to allow us to experience time differently and activate to new levels of our journey. This is a cheat code. This is a shortcut. This is a resonant way of moving through this field. So I want you to start to cultivate this. I want you to start to pay attention to this. I want you to start to ask that question. I want you to pay attention to the subtle differences between your internal resonant system and your mind, or even just what you think of as your intuitive senses, your psychic senses, right? Because I could ask for an answer clairvoyantly or clairaudiently or just with all my senses, but I could also tap into this unique energetic template in my body of my internal resonant system and say, what is that internal resonant system guiding me toward and away from right now? Because it's always giving you feedback. A lot of that is going to be through your physical feelings. So again, physical symptoms and emotions. And we need to not throw everything out when it's low frequency, for example. We need to start to pay attention to when our resonant system is saying just not resonant over here, because that is guiding you away from something so that you can move towards something else. And a lot of people get stuck on what it's guiding them away from instead of allowing that to move them toward that opening in that field, the little sliver that I only pay attention to when I'm bobbing and weaving through a crowd. And that is how energy can pick up. And that is how flow gets created in your life. So this is going to be a really important template. This is going to be a really important idea to start to understand how the energy system works in your body. Your internal resonant system is coded to get activated by unique things. So a lot of times when I'm seeing clients, I'll tell them really, really specific things to do. And we've talked about this before, and they don't always do it, but people who do notice a huge jump in their intuition because it's turning on their internal resonant system. It's making it clear. It's clarifying it. So water is huge. Electrolytes are huge. For some people, and I'm thinking of examples. For some people, it's sound healing. For other people, it's flower essences. For some people, flowers come up for a lot of people, or specific herbs will come up for people. A way of eating will come up for people. Like cleansing for sure opens up your internal resonant system. Liver cleanses, for example, heavy metals detox, for example, things like that will open it up. It could be a specific tea. Could be a specific location or an experience. Things that cleanse our vessels, purify our vessels, open our bodies. Yoga, for example, starting to move intuitively, going on a long walk without any phone or any sound, and just starting to pay attention to what your body wants to move toward, what it's moving away from, these subtle energies in your body. And so it's kind of like this intersection between when we talk about the body's wisdom, we talk about things like the sacral response, we talk about our intuition, but how does it all tie together? All of those can have different blind spots. to be honest, right? They can all have connections with conditioning, for example. But your internal resonant system is important because there is an unlock when we start to understand and recognize and remember that you were coded to come here. There is coding in your body that is guiding you to get out of the maze. And when you start to get curious about the signals in your body that are saying, oh, this is a puzzle match. This is matching me. This is resonant. You move toward it, that clicks something in, that unlocks something, and that moves you toward the next piece and the next piece and the next piece. People are trying to get to the next piece, and they are in a sea of things that are non-resonant for them. But this is why it's really important we pay attention to the subtle things in our environments that are non-resonant, because that is going to make the whole resonant system feel cloudy. So that could be like the house you're living in, that could be a relationship you're in, that could be a friendship you're in, a business partnership, that could be a client you're working with, that could be content you're consuming all the time. That could be one little thing that's clouding the whole field because your body is feeling non-resonant. So this is a different way of working with your body and understanding the system that's within it, because the really important remembrance, and I know you know this, but I want you to really know it and act like you know it, is that your body is coded for this lifetime, for your soul contracts, for your soul mission, and it's guiding you there. Your energy system is trying to guide you there. Your GPS is always on, but sometimes we go in areas where there's no signal, and so we feel like we're lost. And if you can get your internal resonant system back on and humming in a way where you can hear it, where you can clear out the distortions in the field, it's going to guide you exactly where you're meant to go for your highest timelines, your soul contracts, everything you came here to experience. And that is going to feel a lot more exciting and synchronistic and flowy and joyful and inspiring than doing it the harder way. And that's how you create a different reality. So there's a few tools I would suggest. This is why in the membership, my whole thing is we need to work on our energy field, because when you start to clarify that communication, and it's a practice, it's just like developing your intuition or anything else, the more you do it, the more you're going to start to pick up the subtleties in the energetic realm. And that is where all of the answers lie. It's really not that complicated. So we have a whole library of guided energy work. And if you start to do this, I recommend one a day if you can, or even once a week to get started. You're going to notice a huge difference. So 2 that I would recommend. 1 is actually, I'm going to recommend 3 for this specifically. 1 is going to be releasing other people's energy. It's like 12 or 13 minutes, really short. And that's going to start to clear out the distortion in the field. 2 is going to be Cave of Truth meditation. It's one of my favorites. And that really connects you in with a deeper soul truth. And that's going to help turn on this internal resonant system. Not that it's off, but it's going to help clarify what it's saying. And then the 3rd is going to be writing the frequency stream. This is one of the best things to do in the morning. This can be a good walking meditation. And this aligns with a certain vibration, so it attunes your internal resonant system and makes the messaging and signaling really, really strong. I'd recommend those 3 if you really want to start to cultivate working with this system and you want to understand the energy coding that's inherent in your body. Like when I read people's fields psychically, I'm just reading their coding that's in their body. It's a map that's already in you. And that's what I want people to understand. So you can try those out. Just go to christinathechannel.com/membership. You can get a 7-day free trial. We'll also have the link in the show notes or the description below. And something that I'll leave you with is I would really invite you to journal on this concept. I would invite you to journal on the idea, and I would affirm I'm connected to an internal resonant system. What has my body been telling me I resonate with, and what has my body told me I do not resonate with? And I want you to think about your life, what's happening currently and in the past from that context of what your body has been showing you. And that will start to just illuminate things. But if you start to think this way, you're going to start to see the answers a lot more clearly. So that's the action step I will leave you with today. And please let me know how this lands and how this shows up for you. I'm excited for us to see what this year has. It feels really exciting and really different. And the more that we connect with the energetics of what's going on, the more joy and fun we're going to experience along the way. So you get to choose your own adventure, but I know I want to have my adventure feel exciting and inspiring and creative and joyful. And we all get to make that choice. That's where I'll leave you today. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll chat with you again in next episode.